Morning, folks. Out here at Mineral Lake. It's 21 September and it is 8:30 in the morning. Mike and I are called an audible. We're going to go to Alder Lake, but the boat launch was closed due to low water levels. So we came out here to Mineral. On the downrigger, I'm at 7 feet. I'm pulling a frog pattern trigger spoon, 7 feet. Just had a nice hit on that. It did not hook up. On the right side, I'm using a number 1 Chinook diver. I got that set in the number 2 position for side planing off to the starboard side of the kayak, and I'm pulling a Captain America Trigger Spoon Junior, and I have that right about 12 feet. On the sonar, I'm seeing fish between 6 and 20 feet. So we'll play around with depths and presentations and turn you on to what's working today.
So we're out here at Mineral Lake again today. We actually started out for Alder Lake. Water level's low. Can't get off the boat ramp there. We probably could with the kayaks, but I don't want to muck around in the dirt at the end of a boat ramp. So we called an audible and come up here to Mineral. Water temp 68. We haven't fished this in probably a month. Hoping to tie into some browns today. This fishery closes 31st of October, so this might be our last shot at it before we get into winter. We are going down to California here in a month, down to Davis and down to Eagle Lake. So we should get some good footage from that, but I don't think we're going to get another chance of going to Mineral here. So I'm working on a couple different things today. I'm running a number 2 Chinook diver, which I have not used, but I hear good things about. Just trying to get it set to where it'll actually release. I'm going to run that one at about 25 feet down. And I'm running a Trigger Spoon Junior in frog pattern, that one that has been catching for me all summer. So we'll let that one run a little deeper. And then on this side, I'm going to run lead core. And I'm going to run a, the Trigger Spoon Junior is going on that side. On that side is the Trigger Spoon Junior. I'm just going to run that on lead core, a little closer to the surface. On this side, I'm actually running a black and red metalhead fly. Both presentations from Catch America. Both of them are known producers, so hopefully we can get into some brown trout today and see what we can do for you.
Mike and I hit the lake about 8:30. It's 12:30 now. We're trolling back to the boat launch. We used a number of different presentations. The most successful for me was a frog pattern trigger spoon on the downrigger at 14 feet. Stayed there all day, probably caught 10 or 12 just on that one alone. I made a number of different presentations on the right side of the kayak. I used a Chinook diver. I used 2 ounces of lead. I finally went down to a 1/4 ounce of lead. And I was most successful on the right side of the kayak with that lead set up with a blue Fire Tiger Trigger Spoon Junior. Both my presentations from Catch America. While we were catching fish at different areas of the lake, the most productive body of water was the north end of the lake, over 18 to 25 feet of water. Great area to troll and a lot of action and a lot of fish holding suspended. Water temp started at 66 and only got up to 67. And so great temperature for trout. They're starting to get more active and they're starting to suspend instead of holding deeper water here. So Mineral Lake's a great lake. It's only open through October 31st and then it will close for the year. This lake has some big rainbow trout and it has some big brown trout. So if you get a chance, come down here before the end of October and see if you can catch some rainbow trout and some brown trout.
Bonus rod. That was running 2.5 colors with the Trigger Spoon Junior, frog pattern Trigger Spoon Junior. Should have stretched my net out before I started here. And there is that Trigger Spoon Junior from Fish America, or Catch America. This one somehow ended up with 2 eyes on there. I didn't do it myself, but it's been pretty lucky for me, so I've kept it that way.
So we're hooked up, been messing around with this downrigger, And so I'd got one hit at 7. I've been watching the sonar. And so I went down to 14 on the downrigger and just hooked up on this frog pattern trigger spoon from Catch America. On the right side of the kayak, I was running that Chinook diver, but the water temp is 67, and so there's a little bit of chop on the water, so I put a black woolly bugger with 1/4 ounce trolling weight, and we're going to give that a try, and we can make adjustments as we need to. All right, there's that fish.
2.5 colors on that same frog pattern spoon. I just switched up to a Trix minnow or trigger minnow on this side, but I haven't got hit on it yet. I'm thinking it's a depth issue. I've only got one lead core rod on the boat. I can duplicate that with lead as well, but and he's not. Or trigger, I'm sorry. Trigger spoon junior. Been having good luck with that all summer long. Those little spoons can sometimes do the trick pretty well. So we're gonna, there is the Chinook diver right there. It's got a weight, it's similar to a Dipsy in function, I believe, but it's just higher quality, I think, and easier to use. So this has got a weight that you can move to plane. It's got a resettable release, which I find much easier to adjust than the Dipsies. And they come in 5 sizes, I think. This is a number 2. So this one's actually a little bit too big for what I'm trying to do here. A number 1 would be better. I'm going to change this out, and I'm going to go to 1 ounce of lead on here and with the same presentation, and see if I can't get in the strike zone where I'm at with that trigger spoon.
So 14 feet on the downrigger, frog pattern trigger spoon from Catch America. What that does, so that's that fish right there.
That Trix minnow. Oh yeah, fish on. So that one, I took the diver off and put 1 ounce of lead on it at 100 feet. Should be getting me 10, 11 feet deep, which seems to be where they're at. And I gotta tell you, this is just a fun rod to fish. This is that 7-9 Talon. It's a 2 to 6 rod, and it's fun for trout. It's gotta be a rainbow the way he's jumping. Nice little rainbow there. Yeah, he's about 14. On that side with 1 ounce of lead. I really don't like fishing 2 lines. I've told you guys that a whole bunch of times, but sometimes, especially when you're looking for what's working, sure cuts the time of learning down quite a bit. He's so smart.
And so, not a bad trout. And I switched to a hammered gold trigger spoon junior. There's that spoon right there, that hammered gold trigger spoon junior. And that's that trout right there.
So we're only a couple hours into the day here, but a clear pattern's pretty much shaping up for you. So for your Catch America fishing report for Mineral Lake on the 21st of September, what's working is small spoons, dark colored spoons. So I'm using a frog pattern. Pete was using a frog, I think, but any dark pattern will work. I'm using a Trigger Spoon Junior. And then on this side, I'm running the Trix Minnow in natural color. So a lot of times I do better with the minnows in natural colors and the worms in brighter colors. So today's a little bit overcast out here, and water temp is dipped back down into the 60s. So they seem to be keying on darker patterns. And they, you know, plastics is just a good presentation most of the year, but especially in the fall. And then I fish spoons year round. But Catch America's got some great spoons and some great patterns. And those trigger minnows are hard to beat. And a good hit there. That's the Trix minnow again. I should look in their catalog. I'm not sure if they're calling it a trigger minnow or a Trix minnow these days. Anyway, seems to be holding strong. I brought that one up to 90 feet, so that would have brought me up in the water to somewhere around 9.5, 10. The wind picked up just a little bit, so there's chop on the water. Tends to bring them a little shallower sometimes. See Pete there in front of me netting a fish. It's not turning out half bad here. Oh, away he goes. Right there.
Siri, pause.
Might have a double, I'm not sure. I do have a double. Try and get him in here quickly. Alright.
Hey Siri, pause. And that came off right there. So that fish is there. And
So that is the crawfish colored trigger minnow. First time I fished that color, actually. There he is. So I was letting out right there, 68 feet. I hooked up. This is where Pete says, "That's a much better fish." He's over there in earshot. I'm trying to give him a hard time.
Siri, pause.
And that Trix minnow, and I got him hooked up.
So Mike's right next to us. He's hooked up. Might have pulled in 14 feet on the downrigger. I'm gonna see if I can not horse him in and lose him at the side. I mean, I guess. Siri, pause. There's that fish. So hooked up on this right side again. It's that blue Fire Tiger Trigger Spoon Junior. 95 feet with 2 ounces of lead. There's that trout right there. Three GoPro camera batteries. and all I'm doing is shooting. So we're hooked up with this blue Fire Tiger trigger spoon, 1/4 ounce trolling weight, 100 feet behind the boat. So there's that fish, and there's that Trigger Spoon Junior.